how often you stand. It's nice to see, like I said, how many people take some time to stand, and if you can stand, all day, every day. I love that one. But let's get started into our webinar. Today's webinar, we will be sharing the topic, as we've titled it, Positive Posture. Posture, while you are working, but also in your daily life, is very important. So the Wellness Centers team has reached out to Amy Willis, who is a Medtronic employee and a senior EHS specialist. So what she will be talking to us today is some important things about posture, moving better, feeling better, living better. So today you'll learn about proper ergonomics and the best ways to stay mobile, flexible, and in good posture throughout your workday. So giving yourself some knowledge, resources that you need to make your workspace optimal for productivity and comfort. Again, as before I hand this over to Amy, we will be sending out the recording. This webinar will be recorded. We will send it out after the completion of the webinar, and we will also upload it to our YouTube channel. So if you do have to dismiss yourself early for whatever reason, know that you will be able to view this recording, the full recording, later on at your convenience. We will also send out the slide deck as well so that you can see all the information that Amy will share with us today. So I hope you are ready to learn more about posture. So Amy, thank you for being here, and I'll let you take it away.
Right. Thank you guys very much. It's an honor, and I'm really excited to be able to share some of my passion and knowledge with you. So we're going to kind of jump right into it, and we'll talk about posture. Oops, let me see here. So what is posture? You know, a lot of people think posture is, you know, standing up straight or balancing a book on your head or being able to balance on one foot. And really, posture is the relative position of your body at any given moment. It doesn't matter if you're standing, you're sitting, you're sleeping, you're jumping, you're hopping, you're playing on the floor. It doesn't matter. Posture is active in everything that we do. And in fact, humans actually start working on their posture from the day that they're born. And you can see it over the progression of our lives. From the moment a kid lifts up its head to the moment that they roll over, they start crawling, they start walking, running. And then as we grow into adulthood and then into old age, our body is constantly working with posture. So postural alignment is achieved by coordinated muscle tension through the body. So your body's like a domino effect. One body part affects the next, the next, the next. And if something's off in that kinetic chain, you'll feel it elsewhere in the body. So as our muscles contract, they pull against those rigid structures that hold them in place. And we want to continue to support those muscles and soft tissues that can help us improve our posture. Now, there's a lot of things that can affect our posture, sedentary lifestyle being one of the big ones, lack of activity, our weight, our health has a big role, lack of flexibility. Because we all tend to live a little bit more of a sedentary life, and especially during the pandemic where we were limited with some activities, we tend to be less flexible. We tend to have tight muscles. Most people with low back pain have tight hamstrings, so something you guys can work on if you experience a little tension in the low back. Repetitive movements and overuse of muscles is a problem. If any of you have teenagers, you'll see that in that posture here in our icon. The rounded shoulders, the tight chest, the weak upper back muscles from prolonged exposure to looking down at digital devices. So we want to try and reduce those excessive or prolonged awkward postures. Activities that have that forward head posture also can lead to other health issues. So not just musculoskeletal imbalances, but can affect your migraines. It can also affect your lungs. It can affect your circulatory system. So posture is really more than just bones and ligaments and muscles working together. If we've ever had an old sports injury, chances are as you get older, you'll feel it later. So as we get older, the body changes. You know, our body never really stops going through a change, never stops developing. And that posture is really important as we go through our entire lives. So how to improve posture? Just some basic things to start. Conscious awareness. Be in the moment. Pay attention to how you sit, how you stand, how you sleep. I know the sleep one's a little bit funny because at the end of a long day, if you're out, you're out. But you know that you slept in an awkward position when you wake up the next day and you feel it. So if you happen to wake up in the middle of the night and notice that you're crunched and curled, it may be a good idea to get in the habit of readjusting throughout the night. Another thing you can do is when that bad habit causes muscular imbalances, do something about it. Those are your body's signals, those pain signals, that tension, that discomfort, that ache. That's your body's way of telling you that something is off. And it could be the muscles before it, that joint. It could be the muscles after the joint. But somewhere in your kinetic chain, there's something that's off. So do pay attention to those bad habits and those things that are causing those muscular imbalances. Your static posture creates the foundation of your dynamic posture. And what I mean by that is the position that you're in when you're standing, seated, laying down, where you're not moving, definitely has a long-term impact to how your body moves and functions when you're dynamic. So when you're active, even something as simple as the act of standing up out of a chair. If you do too much static, too much sitting, as we get older or with injuries or just life, it does get harder to get yourself up out of that chair, to go from that static posture to that dynamic posture. When your body is accustomed to being in alignment when you're standing and walking, everything works better. Your lung function is better, your circulatory system is better, your digestive system is better. So it's that kinetic chain that everything affects everything else in the body. So I also encourage you to fix those muscular imbalances. And a lot of times, if you've ever listened to the positive posture breaks or done any of the flex breaks or the YouTube classes, our instructors are really great about giving you those body cues. So paying attention to the muscles that you're working at that given time. Not only does it help fix those muscular imbalances, not only does it help improve strength and flexibility, but it actually will help reduce your risk of injury in the long run. So I'm going to hand it over and let's get stretching.
Awesome. Yeah, let's fix those imbalances, strengthen those kind of weaker underused muscles and relieve some of those tighter muscles. And I'm going to take you all through a nice little posture break session to get us moving a little bit. And so I'm going to start spotlight. Am I spotlighted already, Kyle?
Yep. I don't know if it's full screen per se, just because of the
Right.
screen.
Okay.
Mind just real quick. Removing the shared screen of the presentation so we can have Isaac full screen.
Here I am. Okay, here we are. Okay, so yes, let's start off. And one thing worth mentioning too is if you have any questions throughout the presentation, we want to try and keep this as interactive as possible. So always feel free to post any questions in the chat or in the Q&A section of the Zoom. Just wanted a little thing there as well. So let's start off with our stargazer stretch. And this is kind of the bread and butter stretch. Everyone always seems to really like this stretch. You put one hand over the other like that. You anchor down the muscles, and we'll start on the left side, the front left side of your neck onto your collarbone. So I'm kind of just like lightly pulling down and placing my hands onto my collarbone. You want to be sitting at the edge of your chair, nice straight back, so we aren't leaning forward, we aren't overarching our back either. So you'll be right here, turn to your right, look up at the sky or the ceiling, and then tilt your head back. You're going to feel that stretch all the way through the front left side of your neck. To target different areas, just simply move your hand up and down your collarbone to kind of target different areas of tension. You might notice you're more tight in one area than the other. And with all these like static stretches, Most research has shown that you want to do about 30 seconds, at least 30 seconds per stretch to really elongate that muscle and eventually create lasting change. So we'll hold here for another 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And now we're going to do the same exact thing on the other side. So one hand over the other, anchor down the muscles on the front right side onto your collarbone. Turn to your left, look up at the sky, and tilt your head back. Hold here for another 30 seconds. Once you all get access to the slides, you'll be able to kind of see all the stretches and exercises we're doing today. We're doing 5. You'll get to see kind of what targeted muscles and then also stretch cues, as well as a YouTube link for every stretch on how to properly do it. We'll relax here in 3, 2, and 1. Our next stretch we'll be doing is kind of a combo stretch. So a head tilt and a deodorant check stretch is what we like to call that sometimes. So for starters, you'll be sitting straight up and down, looking straight ahead like that. And then simply, you're just going to tilt your head to the left. So left ear over your left shoulder right here. And you're going to feel that stretch on the right side of your neck, that upper trap. Right here. Keeping your shoulders relaxed. So we're not hiking our shoulders up at all. Just relax your shoulders, let them fall towards your hips. Still sitting at the edge of your chair. Your back is straight up and down. So almost you want to squeeze your core just a little to keep that back from, keep your lower back safe and protected while you're doing these. Now take your chin, turn it towards your left shoulder. And you're going to feel that stretch. This is our deodorant check stretch. So you'll feel that behind your right ear, all the way down the right side of your neck. To go deeper into this stretch, there's a couple things you can do. You can take your left hand, grab the back of your head, and pull your head very gently closer to your left shoulder. You can do that, or take your right hand, put it behind your back. But if you're putting your right hand behind your back, it's important to keep that right shoulder open rather than letting it fall forward. So open up that right shoulder, and you can do the full stretch with both these adaptations, or you can do like one or the other. Whichever's more comfortable, whichever's giving you the best sensation of stretching out that muscle. Excellent. I will do the same exact thing on the other side. So tilting your head to the right, right ear over your right shoulder, stretching out the left side of your neck. And as Amy mentioned, kind of the way we sleep and just certain things that we do throughout the day, you can always feel as we're doing these unilateral stretches that one side might be a little bit more flexible or inflexible than the other. For instance, I don't really feel as much of a stretch on the left side, but when I go to that right side, that's when I feel a better stretch. Now you can turn your chin towards your armpit into that deodorant check stretch. And once again, you can put that left hand behind your back, opening up your left shoulder, or taking your right hand, grabbing the back of your head, and very gently pulling your head closer to your right shoulder. And you can relax that stretch. Next is our chin tuck exercise. So this is kind of a double whammy because you're stretching out the muscles at the base of your skull while also strengthening their deep cervical muscles that'll help you sit more upright. So help tilt our head more in that good posture state, that static state. So once again, sitting at the edge of your chair, back is nice and straight up and down from the chair, looking straight ahead. So we aren't tilting our head forward. We aren't looking up, not looking down. We're looking straight ahead. You're going to take your hand, press your chin back, straight back. So once again, not down, not up, straight back. And you're going to hold for about 3 seconds. And then relax. You just continually do that rep, do as many reps, about 10-ish, however many you get in. You're going to start feeling that tension be released at the base of your skull, while also then practicing that muscle memory of sitting more upright. And you can just push your head back yourself, or you can actually assist yourself by pushing your chin back. Doing slow, controlled repetitions at your own pace. A couple more. And relax. Perfect. Next, we'll work some of that mid back, that area between our shoulder blades, helping strengthen that. So as we sit at our desks all day, we will have a tendency to lean forward like that. We want to try and bring those shoulders back. So we're resting more in that static, good posture, shoulders back, standing upright, sitting upright, whatnot. So over here, we'll do our scapular retraction exercise. So you have your hands, palms up towards the sky, elbows tucked in, shoulders down towards your hips. Squeeze your shoulder blades together and bring your hands out. Just like that. And you're going to hold, just like that chin tuck, hold for about 3, 2, 1, and then you bring your hands back to center. This is targeting the muscle groups between our shoulder blades as well as into that posterior shoulder. Something you want to avoid doing when you're doing this stretch, as I've seen before when people are doing this, they start to bring their hands back and arch their back a little bit. You still want to keep your core engaged, keep your body always upright, right? We always want to be practicing good posture, no overarching our back. Just like that. As well as keeping your ears over your shoulders, rather than when we put our hands out, you might want to go like that. That's an exaggeration, but just keeping us all in line right there. A way to progress this exercise or make it a little more challenging, first off, having a resistance band between your hands like that and pulling, or if you don't have access to a resistance band, you're right here. Bring your elbows up towards your shoulders. Hold. Elbows back down and hands together. Something to focus on when you're doing this is still trying to keep those shoulders down towards your hips, even when you're bringing your elbows up. So pushing your shoulders down, squeezing your shoulder blades together while also raising your elbows. Back down and forward. Good work. From what I could tell, everyone was doing it perfectly. Now we'll go to the chicken exercise. So starting position's the same, except you're going to bring your palms together like that. And once again, this is practicing that motion of shoulders down, but elbows up. So you'll squeeze your shoulder blades together as you're bringing your elbows up to meet your shoulders, holding for 3 seconds, and then bringing your elbows back down. Again, you can kind of even exaggerate. You can bring your shoulders up towards your ears, push them down, and then raise the elbows, squeezing your shoulder blades together as you're raising your elbows up. down. Good. Going at your own pace. Good. Another way you could always progress this exercise is holding weights in your hands. Light weights. Because once again, once that upper trap starts to get involved, we start going to this position. You want to shut off that upper trap, that muscle right through here, by putting those shoulders down, bringing them out. One more, and then we'll call it a day. And I know I said 3 seconds, but we're going to hold here for another 5, 4, 3, 2, and give yourself a pat on the back. Great work at that posture, those posture exercises. Maybe get a little sweat going for that. And I wanted to show in that slide, the next slide here, you'll see that we have a positive posture break every Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday from 8:45 to 8:55 Central Time. And once you have access to the slide deck, you can either add it to your calendar via this slide or see some of the recorded sessions on our YouTube channel. So just wanted to show that if you liked that, to have that be something you want to put that on your schedule. And it's only 10 minutes, checking it out sometime. And I will turn the mic back over to Amy.
Yeah, great job. I really love this scapular retraction. Definitely a key, especially for those of us who are in front of a computer a long period of time. By the end of the day, we tend to be fatigued, our shoulders slump, we lean forward, and the head keeps going forward. So anytime we're doing stretching to take care of those muscular balances, it's important to do the opposite of what you've noticed that you're doing. So do the opposite movement of what you find yourself doing. If you're doing a lot of peeing, spend a lot of time spreading the fingers. So, and the same thing with that scapular retraction, applicable in everything we do. So you'll see some of the stretches that we went through. These will all be available to you after the presentation. So you'll get a better idea about which muscles you're using, which layers of muscles that you're using, because we do have multiple layers. It's not a single unit. There's important scapular retraction. And of course, you'll have those YouTube links. All right, so we're going to get into a little bit more detail on those posture cues. This is one of my favorite quotes. It's not the load that breaks you, it's how you carry it. So a lot of times, people are saying, oh, it's too heavy, or I can't, it doesn't feel good. It's not necessarily always the weight or the repetition, it's how your body is also functioning. So keep that in mind. So one thing I wanted to focus on is that our bodies are designed for movement. They're movement in multiple directions, forwards, backwards, up, down, rotation. We have over 200 muscles in the body and 360 joints. So there is no way our bodies were designed to be static and sedentary. Movement affects everything, just like posture does, right? Circulation, digestion, metabolism, immunity, brain function. Movement also gives us healthy joints and strong bones. For anyone who has arthritis, one of the things the doctors always say is get moving, and it's not always comfortable to get moving when you're dealing with arthritis, but it helps lubricate the joints, and that movement helps keep the joints warm, so that does help make the body function at its peak. Movement also increases circulation. It improves coordination and reflex activity or reactivity. Improved learning skills, concentration. There's a lot of studies out there now that they're putting students in dynamic desks. So some of those may be like the balance balls or a wobble chair or standing desks, just to mix up the activities so that they're forced to use their brain in a different way, which does improve learning and education. Posture also gives us positive well-being. So you've seen someone walking down the street where they're just kind of
I think we might have lost you, Amy. We'll give it a minute or two, let Amy. Yeah, is Amy for everyone else? Is it
Yeah.
Sorry, everybody. Did I lose you?
For a little bit.
Yep.
Oh, sorry about that. Welcome to the San Antonio office.
Great.
Let me pull my screen back up. All right, so I think I may have lost you about the posture and exercise go hand in hand. Is that about right?
Mhm.
Okay. So anytime you're in a fitness class or watching one of the YouTube videos, I definitely encourage you to pay attention to what the instructors are saying and listening to those cues that they're giving you. That way you can focus on the specific muscle group they're trying to work and help correct those muscular imbalances and improve the flexibility. All right, my next tip for you is the next posture is the best posture. This goes back to my ergonomics and manufacturing days, and also with office ergonomics. Be aware of your body at all times. Be mindful, pay attention. It's not an easy thing to do to be completely focused on what your body's doing at any given time, but it is important to do self-checks throughout the day, especially if you've been doing the same movement repetitively, or if you've been, listening to a positive posture presentation and sitting at your desk leaning forward into your screen, which I know no one's doing. But definitely do a self posture check. I have a 12-year-old who is fascinated with his phone right now, and we have to remind him to do posture checks. We are a posture check family because we know the health implications of it. So I definitely encourage you guys to keep on an eye on each other. You do want to pay attention to how your body feels. Those aches and pains and stiff and something doesn't feel right when you got a hitch and you're giddy up in the morning, that's your body's way of telling you that something's off. So you need more movement, you need more stretching, you may need to be better hydrated. Hydration plays a huge role in your body's ability to function. I also would encourage you to take breaks away from your workstation, especially for those who are working from home without the office to roam around and the water cooler chat. We tend to be very isolated. We tend to get a lot less movement. And in the same way, our manufacturing counterparts who are constantly moving, we want them to step away from their workstation on their breaks too, and try to use a different posture, do something different than what your body's been doing for the past couple hours. Finally, with that next posture is the best posture, stretch throughout the day. Stretching doesn't have to take long. You don't have to block off an hour of your calendar to get a good yoga session in. Even just little micro breaks throughout the day, those 15 to 30-second breaks, where you just kind of roll your shoulders, shake out your hands, open and close the fists, will help improve your comfort, your energy levels, and your posture. So I just want to point out too, we all use bad posture at some point in time. I've been doing this longer than I care to share, but I still have to do posture checks. Sometimes the posture that we use is chosen. We slump forward at our desk. Sometimes it's not, where we have a physical ailment going on. Loading the washer and dryer is always an awkward movement. It's not always something that can be done with good posture. So my cue for you is do it right when you can for the times that you can't. So avoid those awkward moments when it's possible. If you can do some things in a smarter position, use good lifting techniques, stand tall when you're pushing the lawnmower across the yard. When you're carrying objects, keep them close to your core so that you engage your back and abdominal muscles. Taking time to stretch. Those are all things that you can do that will make your body feel better, re-energize you, and improve your posture and body function. Next, talking to our office versus manufacturing, there's physical demands for both jobs. Even though there's two physically different tasks at hand, there's still a lot of that happens throughout the body when you're in a static position or you're in a constantly moving position. So just from general cues for the office environment when it comes to posture and ergonomics, you want to try to follow the 20-20-20 rule. So 20-20-20 means every 20 minutes, you look 20 feet away for at least 20 seconds. That 20-20-20 just gives you a little break, a little micro break, that little reprieve. It allows your eyes to relax. You focus on something different, so your eyes get a chance to get away from these screen effects, but also just a little brief sesh. Another thing is keeping things arm's length away. Ergonomics isn't an exact science, even though we all have the same parts, we're put together a little bit differently. So arm's length, if you were to reach out your hand to touch your screen, that's usually a good distance when you're seated at your workstation. Standing workstations, we tend to be closer to the screens when we're standing, but seated, usually about arm's length away. Also, arms supported is a big one. There's some people like the armrests on the chairs, some people don't, but I encourage you to use the armrest or at least rest your forearms on the desk surface whenever you get a chance, because it does help release that tension in the upper back and neck, since that's where most people carry their tension. And then at the end of a long day, we tend to do the slump and reach forward. That actually, it does help relieve some of that tension. And then, of course, a good support underneath the feet, whether you're using a footrest, an Amazon box, something to keep your feet elevated so that your knees are not sloping too far down below hip level, and that you have a small gap between the back of your legs and the edge of your chair. If you're having contact between the back of your chair and the back of your legs, sometimes it can create some contact stress and make circulation a little bit more challenging. And when we're seated, we do want to try and encourage that circulation. Now with the manufacturing environments, you tend to be on your feet quite a bit. You tend to get plenty of movement. So a lot of times we think, I don't need to work out. I don't need to worry about stretching. I've had a physically active job. I can do this all day, right? We pull out our Captain America. We can do this all day. Our Amazon drivers, they've been so busy the past couple years. Yes, you're getting constant movement, but your body still needs that reprieve. So you still need to do posture checks, watch how you're positioned, take the breaks away from what you were already doing. So if you're on your feet a lot, definitely encourage you to have a little sedentary time. If you're doing a lot of picking and grasping, using your hands to do work, make sure that you're stretching your hands, opening up, spreading the fingers, and doing the opposite of what your body normally is trying to do throughout the workday. So my last little set of tips for you, we'll start with the office side. In the administrative setting, look for ways to add movement into your day. Whether it be standing up on conference calls, that's a great time, especially if you're not the one that's leading the charge or engaged in the conference call. If you can stand up, that's great. Pacing is a fantastic way to go. If you're in the office, have walking meetings. If you need to have a one-on-one with your supervisor or a coworker, I encourage you to take a lap around the campus just to get some extra movement in, clarity of thought, and a little bit of activity. Stretching throughout the day definitely makes you feel better. Encourage your coworkers to stretch. You can put the calendar invites into your Outlook so that you can actually participate, or at least have a daily reminder that it's time to get up and do something different. I'd always encourage the hydration as well. As much as we love our coffee and sweet tea down in the South, we want to make sure that we're getting water, and plenty of water as well. Not only does it help lubricate the joints and promote all the good stuff that your body's supposed to be designed to function to do, but it'll force you to get up and change your posture so you can run down to the restroom and get a little bit more movement. And finally, take those breaks away from your desk. It can wait. We want a healthy, happy you, and we want the best of you while you're here in your workday. And sometimes that means that you need to just take a stop, take a breath, step back, and get a little bit of woo-saw time. In the manufacturing environment, I want to encourage you to find variety into your workday by balancing your work. We are very dominant-sided people. We tend to do the same, we're creatures of habit. We tend to do the same thing the same way every time. So find ways to add variety in. Imagine you are right-handed and you fracture your wrist. You're in a cast. You physically will have to find other ways to brush your teeth, to drink out of a water bottle, and to do those activities of daily living. Those small little changes that you can do throughout the day, even just opening a car door, turning a doorknob, or taking that well-needed hydration break, is going to add variety into your day, and it's going to reduce those muscular imbalances. We tend to overwork our dominant side and underwork our non-dominant side. So we want to create that balance and encourage the movement on the non-dominant side to give that dominant side a break. If you're standing a lot and and even if you're in a home office or work office where you're standing and walking in on your feet quite a bit, invest in some good shoes with some good arch supports. Their feet can take a beating throughout the day. The entire weight of your body and all the burdens you're carrying will show up in your feet. And then that kinetic chain is going to shoot back up your spine and other things are going to start to ache. So something with a good cushion and a good arch support is definitely encouraged. Those hydration, again, healthy meals is important in the manufacturing environment because we're constantly moving. We do tend to burn through calories quite a bit. And even people who say, oh, I'm trying to shed some pounds, I'm going to have a light meal, it's still going to be important to nourish the body and put back into it what the body's putting out. And then finally, take those active rest breaks. If you've been busy on the floor and pumping out products, we want to make sure that you do take that break, sit, relax, breathe, but also just stretch, walk, move differently than what you've been doing. All right, guys, I'm going to hand it back over to you.
Awesome. Real quick, Amy, we had a couple questions come in through the Q&A. So I thought you could maybe give your 2 cents with some answers. So the first one that we had was maybe some quick recommendations for those who struggle with shoulders that constantly creep up towards their ears. What are some things that you would recommend for people to do? Yeah.
So if we're talking of a office environment, I would definitely encourage you to check your screen height. Usually the top inch of the monitor should be about eye level or slightly above. If you have the ginormous screens that we all seem to be going to, you may want to lift them up a little bit higher. But a lot of times if you're elevating your shoulders in a computer workstation, it tends to be that the monitor alignment is off. So either you're using bifocals, trifocals, and trying to find the right position for your screens. They're too high or they're too low. But I would definitely check that screen height, going for that 1 to 2 inches above eye level.
Very well.
And of course, all those
Good.
scapular retraction exercises we did are always
Right. Yep, and that was one thing that I was going to add as well, is the aspect of stretching and strengthening to help improve the shoulder posture and the shoulder alignment. Awesome. Next question was, how frequently should you get up from your desk and move? This individual says that they come across various numbers, like every hour, every 20 minutes. What would be your suggestion for that kind of duration of time to get up and move?
I think some of it does have to do with the work that you're doing. If you are, constantly in spreadsheets and you're zoned in, I would encourage you to take breaks every hour, because you tend to get so focused, you end up curling and crunching, and it gets really intense. If you have variety in your day where you're getting up and going to meetings, or you're walking down the hall to go to a conference, you may not need the breaks as often. My personal opinion is I do try to get in my computer day, I do try to get every 2 hours to go do something different. I hope that helps. It kind of depends on everybody's unique setups and requirements, but movement. You can't ever have too much movement.
Right. No, fantastic. Great answer. Thank you. And final question that might be more so directed towards our wellness team staff, Carolyn and Kelly specific. Carolyn and Kelly have more yoga experience. So the last question came in was, what suggestions can you offer around breathing during these stretches? In particular, when to inhale and when to exhale in a stretching sequence?
Yeah, I can start, Kelly, and then if you want to add on, you certainly can. So really what we focus on is when you are exerting force or using a push motion or a pull motion, that is when you want to exhale out. So for example, if you're looking at the abductor exercise, right, we're using the motion here as we're pushing our hands away. So we inhale when we come together, we would exhale as we push the arms away from the body.
Kelly, any additional input with that?
And typically, like when I do yoga, I'll say like if you're trying to grow taller, as you inhale, that's when you're stretching, growing taller because you're filling your lungs. And then as you exhale, you're kind of sinking into the pose, just to add with how your breath normally falls. As long as you're not holding your breath. So typically I wouldn't get over consumed about it, just avoid holding that breath. But yeah, either exertion, like Carolyn said, you could go for that push pull, or you could go with, if you're stretching up, inhaling, if your arms are going down, exhaling.
Fantastic. Sweet and simple. Good. Well, I'll hand it back to you guys for upcoming events and weekly offerings. If you guys have any more questions, feel free to put them in the Q&A or in the chat, and it might be something where we will answer through email later.
Excellent. Well, first of all, I want to thank Amy again for joining us today. Really great information and some great action steps that we all can take. So really great information. And to Isaac too for the feel good positive posture break. So that was super good. It felt really amazing. And I try and get to his classes at least once a week, if at all possible, because it does really feel good. So if we look at the next slide, you'll see that we have some upcoming events and opportunities that kind of match along with our topic for today. So we have our June Fitness Focus, which is our 20 days of mobility. So with this challenge, you will learn different exercises and progressions throughout these 20 days that will help you move better, live better, feel better, right? And you can access the fillable PDF that's on this slide, which as Kyle mentioned, you'll get the slide deck sent to you, and then also on our SharePoint page. So you can also want to have this positive posture break that we did today. If you want to have that at a team meeting or a special event, you can click on the link provided on the slide and you can request one. And we can come to your department via Zoom, whatever works for you and your team. We can also do other activities such as flex breaks, guided meditations, fitness classes, yoga, fit breaks. We are here to accommodate your needs. So you just let us know how we can help. And then I also wanted to spotlight our Healthier Together YouTube channel, which is where you can find these webinars. And then along with many other formats of group exercise classes. And we are live on the YouTube channel Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays at 12 o'clock Central Time. And then we also have all the offerings that I mentioned earlier on that YouTube channel as well. So if you can't hit a positive posture break, you can check one out on the YouTube channel. As we look at the next slide, we can see our weekly live offerings. So these are the offerings that we offer on a weekly basis, and we would love to see you there via Zoom. So just click on the link and add it to your calendar. You can see we offer a variety of different sessions. So you'll see this slide and then also the next slide. And these sessions are ranging from quick 15-minute low impact workouts to posture sessions to guided meditation and yoga. So you can see we offer a lot of different things there. So we would love to see you there. So again, I just want to thank you guys for taking the time to attend our webinar today. We really enjoy that you're here. Don't forget to join the Healthier Together Yammer community to learn about upcoming challenges, programs, other resources that are available to you. And as always, feel free to reach out to any of us for any questions, as we are here to help you stay healthy. So thanks again for joining us, and have a great rest of your week.